Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I will be talking about travelling with sickle cell. So I've recently just come back from Bali. Probably not recently because I've been back at least a month now. They messaged me and was like, oh, I like your videos, but could you do a travelling video? And I thought to myself, do you know what, that's such a good idea, because I would consider myself to be well travelled. So yeah, I thought, why not give you guys some tips and some of the things that I do to get prepared for my holiday, so I stay healthy. So far I've visited Dubai. It's like I can't even remember what I visited. Okay, so I've been to Dubai, Mauritius, LA, New York, Morocco, Paris, Nigeria, and now Bali. I think there is somewhere else. Anyway, those are the places that I remember. So I'll get straight into the video. I've got my notes here so I don't like waffle on, because I know that I can talk for days. So I'm trying to stick to my tips that I've written down. Okay, so first of all, so in terms of holidays, I don't usually research like hospitals or doctors or that type of stuff. I feel like when you say, oh, let me look at hospitals just in case I fall sick, or just in case this happens to me, you kind of speak it into existence, and you kind of, without knowing it, you kind of assume that you're already going to be sick when you go on holiday. So I just tend to pray and hope for the best and hope that I don't fall sick, and I'll go with the mindset that I'm not going to be sick, I'm going to enjoy myself. So therefore I tend to not have a crisis. Now that's not like obviously like gonna work all the time, and I'm not like stupid and I just don't travel thinking, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be sick. I do have travel insurance, and a lot of the time it costs me a lot of money, but prevention is better than cure, as my mum likes to say. So yeah, so I do have travel insurance, so that's one thing I do not travel without. So I'll definitely take that into consideration. So when it comes to planning a holiday, the main thing that I look for is whether I need vaccinations or not. I like to give myself time to travel. Obviously Bali, I didn't do that. Thank God I actually went to Bali, because if I'd gone somewhere else I probably would have needed vaccinations. I wouldn't have been able to go as spontaneously as I did. So yeah, so definitely look into whether you need vaccinations or you have to take malaria tablets with you. Like, look into the country and its facilities and whether you need vaccinations. It's just like checking if you need a visa or not. It's just something else that you have to check on. What else I would take into consideration is, if this is your first holiday without you going on holiday with your parents, I would start off small, and that's something I definitely did when I first started going on holidays without my family. The last time I went on holiday with my family, I was like 11 years old. 11, 12, who even remembers? Anyway, I was a kid and I went to Nigeria with my family, so that didn't really matter. But yeah, so the next holiday I went to, I was about, it was like 3 years ago. So no, I was around 20. I was going to be 21. Yeah, so me and my sister went to Morocco, and Morocco from here is only like 3-hour flight. So that was a great way to start easing onto being on a plane and taking long flights. And then next we went to LA for my 21st. Yeah, so I wouldn't just start off going on a holiday and going on a 12-hour flight, because to be honest, it might be a lot. Waffling. Oh, it might be a bit too much for you if you're just yeah, taking your first flight without your family. I would consider starting off with small journeys and then progressing to longer flights. And double check the type of transportation that's in the area you're going to, or in the country that you're going to. You don't want to be in a country, for example, let's just say India, where their main transportation are like shuttle buses and motorbikes. Obviously that's not to say India don't have like cabs and stuff like that. I'm just trying to say you don't want to be in a position where you can't quickly hail a taxi. Let's say you forget your medication in the hotel and you just need to get back as soon as possible. You don't want to be in a position where you can't quickly hail a taxi or quickly call an Uber. I would bear that in mind. And obviously if you're somewhere where it's really hot, I'm pretty sure you would want to get into some air conditioning in a car ASAP. So keep that in mind. Another thing, oh my gosh, this is the main thing actually. This is not just another thing. I do not go on any holidays that is cold, where there's snow, where there's rain, where there's bears, where there's a jungle. I don't care how beautiful the scenery is going to be. I don't care how great of an experience it's going to be. If there's no beach and it's not hot, Talani will not be there. It's literally as simple as that. I don't go anywhere that's not hot because I already live in a cold country. So why am I going to go and explore in the snow or somewhere else that's colder than this? So skiing, you guys should already know. Me and skiing, it just doesn't happen. So guys, if you're thinking about going to skiing, if you guys are thinking about going on a skiing trip or going Iceland, I'm sorry, I can't give you no tips on that because I would never be doing that myself. Hotel. So when I'm looking at hotels, I know people tend to think that I'm a bit bougie or I'm a bit stuck up, but I only stay at 5-star hotels. And it doesn't have to be 5-star hotels. 4 stars literally, it's kind of alright, but I mainly stay at 5-star hotels. And that's mainly because the 5-star that's in London is not the same 5-star that would be wherever you go to. Every country has a different set of ratings, therefore, you know, I would say 5-star would always be the best. Even if you're not looking for 5-star hotels, remember wherever you're staying needs to be clean, needs to be hygienic, needs to be sanitary, and it needs to be, I would say it should be in a city centre. I wouldn't go to somewhere where, you know, how do I explain it? It's okay to travel and be in the outskirts, but bear in mind if you had to call a doctor, just if you're staying in the outskirts, if you needed to see a doctor, take that into consideration. That's another thing that I actually didn't take into consideration, to be honest, because when I went to Mauritius, I didn't know that everywhere in Mauritius, well, pretty much every hotel is a resort. So me and my sister were staying at the Azori resort, and the doctors was like half an hour away on site, or a doctor that's close by. The reason why I say you should get a hotel that has a good rating is because you don't want to be in a hotel that looks pretty in pictures, looks beautiful when you get there, but they only change their sheets every 3 days. You don't know the bacteria that you're going to meet. You don't know the germs that is in that country, and your body isn't used to it. That's why I say you should pick a good star hotel, because you don't want to be in a position where you're in a hotel and they have like ants, cockroaches, or they don't wash their the mugs they give you to drink water. The risk of us catching an infection is extremely high, and being in a country that you don't know, the last thing you want to do is catch a bug and then be sick. And it's not a crisis, but it's like an infection, so like either a flu, a cold, all that type of stuff. You don't want to catch none of that type of stuff when you're abroad, because that would be the worst experience. That's probably worse than a crisis, because the crisis, you know how to deal with that. But if you catch an infection that your body's not used to, that's going to be the worst situation for you. And make sure they speak at least a good amount of English. You want to be able to speak to someone who can talk back to you and respond in English that you can understand. Even if it's just the hotel manager, just get someone, just make sure they can speak English over there. Another thing that I usually do is I travel smartly. I give myself time to explore wherever I'm going. Do not go on a holiday for 3 days and try and pack all your activities into 3 days. You're just going to exhaust yourself and you're just going to make yourself sick. Let's say you're going, I don't know, let's give an example. Let's just say you're going from here to America and you just plan on spending 2 days there. I mean, it already takes over 6 hours to get to New York from here. So it wouldn't make sense for me to try and ram-pack the whole holiday into 2 days and then come back. I will be exhausted. Either I fall sick while I'm there, or I'll fall sick on the plane, and either of those you don't want. So usually I would give myself at least 7 to 10 days for a holiday. Of course it depends on where you're going to and what you want to do, but I wouldn't ram-pack all my activities into a couple days, like I said. So my sister, she gets that I have sickle cell, but it's like, obviously she don't have sickle cell, so she could do whatever she wants. So we tend to clash sometimes, because it's like, I want to do these activities, but I can't do these activities. And it's like, she wants to do the activities. She don't have no reason why she shouldn't. But I don't want to make it a bad holiday for her. Does that make sense? So it's like we kind of clash. So what I've learnt to do is, when I went to Mauritius, that's definitely one thing I learned. One day we went sea walking, and that's when you go like underwater and you like talk with the fishes. Water, and then you see all of these fishes, basically, is what happens, yeah? I can't really explain it. And the next day, we were gonna go zip lining. And if you guys know, Mauritius is like one of the world's largest zip line. I was like, I can't do that. I'm exhausted. Like, now there's only certain things we can do. So the next day, we basically went sightseeing around like Mauritius and all of that stuff. And then the next day, that's when we got to do zip lining. So I basically spread out my activities and give myself enough time to rest. Because heat stroke and dehydration is not a joke. Listen, when... I think the heat hits me worse because I am in London and it is always... There's no day that I don't feel cold in London. Maybe today is a good day because it's quite sunny today, but this is like a blue moon. I am usually always cold in London. I'm either cold or it's raining. So when I go to another country, listen, I feel the heat some type of way. It's a different kind of way when that heat hits me. So heat stroke is very, very serious, you know. So yeah, I always notice that whenever I'm on holiday, I'm actually sleeping more than I even sleep when I'm in London. Like, I will get up, eat my breakfast, get ready, do whatever I need to do, and then by the time I'm in the cab, I'm like this. I'm gone, like they hit me from my hotel room just to the taxi, had me KO'd. So anyway, I would say make sure you rest up as much as you can. Take naps if you need to take naps. Just remember that it is a holiday. And you should just ease yourself into whatever you're doing. Take your own time to do whatever you want to do, and don't rush it, and don't go at anyone else's speed. Whoever you're traveling with knows your health situations, therefore they would put that into consideration. Flying, the one thing that you're supposed to do the most is exercise and mobilize. They will not tell you this on the plane, that you're supposed to be exercising every 1 hour on the plane, but if you can, set a timer on your phone and try and walk about on the plane every hour. What else do I do? Yeah, and also if you don't know what exercises to do on the plane, there's a leaflet in the seats that show you what exercises you can do on the plane. When you're on a plane, you're not getting as much oxygen as you would normally do. Let's say you're, you know, just walking about. So what I tend to do is, because I'm asthmatic as well and I tend to run out of oxygen like all the time, I usually check my saturation levels at my GP before I travel, and yeah, if they're not great, to be honest, I've got a can of oxygen which you can buy online. Just like Google canned oxygen, and you can just like use a few puffs of that. It tastes like mint, to be honest. It's actually really good, and then that will get your oxygen levels quite up. That will get oxygen levels a bit higher, and you really can't do without having oxygen day to day. Then I would tell the airline, because you can have oxygen on the plane while you're on the plane. Just let them know and they'll give it to you throughout your whole duration of the flight. Yeah, I've never had to do that, but I mean, things that I pack when I'm traveling in my handbag are my thermal socks, an extra blanket, because regardless of how many blankets you have, even if you have 3 blankets, it is extremely cold on the plane, and I don't actually... It's extremely cold on the plane, and I don't really know why. It's like freezing cold. Anyway, so I would pack my thermal socks, an extra blanket, a heat pack. Oh, heat pack, obviously my medication, and water. The one thing that I buy extra in duty free is always extra water and snacks. Snacks is because, you know, extra water, because regardless of the amount of cups of water, cans of drinks you ask for on the plane, it will not amount to the 3 litres of fluids that you're supposed to drink a day. So it is always best to just get 2 big bottles. It's always best to get 2 big bottles of water at duty free, and then just know that you pretty much just need to finish that on the plane, added on top of what you need to drink on the plane. Don't think that your 2 bottles of water is going to cover it. Just because you have 2 litres of water, you still need a bit more. having a crisis on the plane or on holiday, weirdly, I've actually had quite a few crises on the plane. But the worst one was going to Bali and coming from Bali, and there was another one when I was coming back from Nigeria and I was a child, and that literally tormented me because back from Nigeria with my younger sister and my older sister, and everything was fine. I was on the plane, I slept, and then I woke up, and then obviously I was just so cold and I was in a lot of pain everywhere. And my older sister, she was just looking at me like, oh my god, like what am I even supposed to do? Like I don't even know what I'm supposed to do, yeah. And I could just see the shock and how afraid she looked, and it literally scared me because I was thinking to myself, okay, so are we definitely in a situation where this is like really bad? So anyway, I was in so much pain. I just called the flight attendant and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got my painkillers in my suitcase and all of this. And she was just looking at me because she didn't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, she just knew that she needed to get my medication, and she gave me extra water and stuff like that. And then I had extra blankets, and then afterwards I think I slept. My medication made me sleepy. I slept, and then I woke up, I wasn't in pain. But when I was going to Bali, I was in pain because I was so cramped on the plane. So that was to be expected. But when I was coming back from Bali, listen, the pain was so bad that I genuinely couldn't even walk off the plane. I had to go in a wheelchair to get off the plane, and then off the wheelchair, I had to get flight assistance just to help with my luggage, and then it was all a mess. It was all a mess because it wasn't sorted out on the plane. So the air hostesses are having to call, you know, the airport to say, oh no, we have another passenger who needs assistance. And then basically, when I got off the flight, there was a guy there, and he was like, oh, since you managed to get off the plane, can you just walk to the wheelchair? These times, do you know what? God bless this flight attendant, you know, because he thought I walked. This guy pretty much carried me the way he was holding my back. He was carrying me as I was walking. I was literally on my tiptoes. I was barely doing any walking. I was like, I can't do any walking. And he basically, let's just be honest, he was kind of discriminating, I'm going to be honest, because he thought that I looked okay. He thought, looking at me and judging me, he was like, okay, she looks decent. She looks fine. She doesn't look like she has like an illness. She doesn't look like she has a disability. Obviously he could tell that I was in pain and like I was uncomfortable, but he didn't really assume that anything was really wrong because he was just looking at me face value. So that's what really irritated me, and I had to explain to him that no, I can't walk anywhere. You're gonna have to bring the wheelchair right here. I cannot walk any further. And I was already stocked up on all my pain medication, and I was already in agony. I'm thinking to myself, you're telling me to walk in this wheelchair. I'm thinking if I'm even going to collect my suitcase, I'm just going to leave this airport and call the ambulance. Forget you telling me to walk in a wheelchair. If you don't get that wheelchair to me now, you will be calling 999 and the ambulance will come and pick me up from this place. So either you help me or we go to the worst scenario. But then he ended up being really lovely, and you know, he got me the wheelchair. He even picked my suitcase up for me. He took me through passport control. So do you know what? It worked out in the end. So basically, sometimes all you've got to do is explain, because really and truly, I get this a lot. Like, people think I look okay and nothing is wrong with me. So when I'm in pain, they understand that I'm in pain, but it's like, maybe she's just exaggerating. It's, you know, just pain. It's never just pain. And just because I look okay doesn't mean I'm okay. And that's probably the issue that I have with sickle cell. So guys, I will take that into consideration and be extremely patient when you're traveling, because let's just be honest, not everybody understands what you're going through. So you're going to have to explain it and be as patient as you can. And when you're in pain, you're kind of irritated. So you're just going to have to be extremely patient and extremely calm. And another crisis that happened, the only few places I had the crisis was Bali again. It's like when I got off the flight, I had pain. I got to the hotel, I rested up and I was fine. And then after like 2 days of like activities and exploring and all of that, I was just in so much pain, like my whole body was just aching me. And then I kind of realised that it's because I was in the sun too much. And in Bali, I'm getting a bit irritated irritated. I don't know why they don't have aircon. Why would you not have aircon? Why? In a lot of the restaurants, if you're not in like one of those big hotels, like, you know, like a hotel and eating your lunch or dinner, they have fans. Why am I in a restaurant with a fan? Why am I in a shopping mall with a fan? Why am I eating in a restaurant with a fan? It is 36 degrees outside and you only have a fan. It's even 38 degrees sometimes and you only have a fan. You can't just have you need aircon. Aircon is life. Aircon is the privilege God gave us. Even hot just thinking about how much sweat consumed my body that week. In a lot of heat strokes, and I was probably dehydrated, to be honest, because I was sweating a lot because I was constantly in the sun. Even though I was drinking, clearly I wasn't drinking enough, so that's why I kept getting sick. And then the last few days I realized it was just about trying to rest up. So I think one day I had to spend the whole day in the hotel, and I just pretty much just chilled, watched TV, and I just had room service all day. Sometimes you just need to do that, because really and truly it's a holiday. Just because you're in another country, that doesn't mean you have to see the whole country by the time you leave. It's a holiday at the end of the day. Just relax, enjoy yourself, and do what you don't do on a normal day. And if you work full time, you will know that when you're on holiday, the one thing you definitely just want to do is sleep anyway. Sleep, eat, and relax. So just take your time with your holidays and enjoy it. It's not as stressful as you may think to travel with sickle cell. I know you guys may be afraid and may be like, oh gosh, no, should I travel with this illness? I don't know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, I would love to say to you that you could travel and you'll never be sick because it's hot, but you already know you live with an illness that you don't know when it's going to affect you, how it's going to affect you, if it's going to be minor, severe, or if it's going to be life-threatening. Sorry to say this, but that's just the truth. So I think you've just got to take a leap of faith. And if you definitely want to go on holiday and explore, pray up about it, and I'm pretty sure you will be fine. Just have faith. Of course, take your extra precautions. Don't travel without travel insurance. Please don't travel without travel insurance. Yeah, and that's about it really. It's not that bad. Yeah. Because if I'm going to be honest, I've had an amazing time. I've seen so much in the world, and I'm just very grateful that my mum pushes me to travel. If she didn't push me to travel and see the world, because basically that's what she used to do when she was young and single, I don't know what I would be doing now. I'd be like, oh my gosh, now I'm too scared to go on a flight. So yeah, I hope this video honestly helped you guys, and I hope you learnt something a bit more, and I didn't waffle on too much, because I know I can waffle. Any more tips, or if you guys are going to any of the countries that I've named that I've been to already, just drop me a comment below or email me, and I'll definitely get back to you on any advice, or if you just like want to know what you can do, what's fun to do in wherever I've been to, let me know and I'll get back to you. And I really appreciate you all watching my videos, honestly, I really do. Yeah, so that's it really. So I think I'm gonna end this video because I'm gonna keep talking about nothing. So see you guys later.